Okay, in this video we're going to have a look at the DCC18 adapter for Lumix cameras, and specifically in this video we're going to be talking about whether it can work with the higher frame rates using SSD. The adapter itself I've already talked about in a separate video, so I'll link up to that in the corner and that will tell you all about it. But essentially what it is a USB-C dummy battery for Lumix cameras. And I did a test on older Lumix cameras as well with this, which I'll link up in the corner so you can check that out and see if it's going to work with your camera. So the higher frame rates were essentially something that were unlocked in one of the firmware updates for the Panasonic GH6, and what it allowed us to do, SSD recording's always been locked to 60 frames a second until this firmware update came along, and you could use batteries like external V-mount batteries to then unlock those higher frame rates. But it's been a little bit of a mess as to which dummy batteries work, which V-mount batteries work, and there's no definitive answer. Obviously, like Panasonic can't go around testing every single V-mount battery, and they're not going to go around, you know, supporting third-party dummy batteries. So what they've done is they've released this adapter, which the idea of it is that it you can use USB-C power, so through a power bank, whilst also freeing up the port on the side of the camera, so you can use SSD, whereas before we could either use power over USB to sort of charge our internal stock battery, which I've got in the camera. So what we could do before is essentially plug in a power bank and it would charge our internal battery, which is great until you get to the point of wanting to use an SSD drive, which usually you would do if you're powering it over a power bank. It's because you want to do a long recording, and then you're kind of bottlenecked here because you've only got one USB-C port, and obviously that's an issue. So ideally, I would have liked to see them release the newer body of this camera with two ports, but what Panasonic have done instead is kind of gone a sidestep and created an adapter that will let you use this to power your camera with a power bank. And like I say, that's all been explained in the other video. And as I say, this this adapter looks to remove all of the headaches that we've had between what does work on the GH6, GH7, what works on the G9 Mark II, because it seems like there are discrepancies even there between some of the camera bodies. So this looks to kind of take away all of those issues. So what I'm going to do is just go through some of the bits I've got here. So what we'll do, we've already taken the battery out, we'll just stick in the dummy battery, run it out through the bottom. And I'm just going to test some of these things because people ask me all different bits, like which bits work and which bits don't. So we'll start off with V-mount batteries. You would expect these to work because they work with third-party variants of this, which I've shown in other videos, and I'll link to that. You know, you can buy third-party versions of this cable, but now this cable's out, you know, it's $30–40. I would probably just buy the official one. You know, there's no point going the third-party route anymore to save like a couple of pounds. So just kind of, I would recommend just getting this one. And then you can plug it into the USB-C port on the V-mount, plug it into here. And then what I'm going to do is just power it up without the SSD drive. And you can see camera's powering up. No SSD drive inserted because I've already got the SSD mode on. And then plug in the SSD. And then what we'll do, I'm in the quick menu here looking at this. You know, you might be going through to the menu rec quality, so it might look like that for you, but essentially I'll link up actually on how you can customize your quick menu and stuff. But essentially you can see on here we've got the oh sorry I've covered the sensor, or the eyepiece sensor. You can see we've actually got the 4K 120, I've got HD 120, I've got HD 240. This varies depending on your system frequency. Again, I'll link up into the corner. If you can't find 300, that video will explain why that is. But so in mine I'm using PAL, I've got 240, so you know that's a check for that one, that works. So we've got the small rig battery there. So I'm using the small rig VB99. I'll link to all of this stuff in the description, so if you want to check out any of these bits. This battery right now, there is like a powering off issue with it, so my recommendation would be, if you want to use the DCC18, give that battery a skip, because it's got some issues at the moment, and I'm not sure if it can be firmware updated or anything like that. I don't know if that's even possible on those batteries. The newer version of it may not have that issue. If somebody's got that battery, let me know, and then it might be that it's worth just getting the newer version of it. That is the older VB99, whereas they have I believe they're the VB99 Pros now. So this one is like a budget V-mount. It's the WeMaxit Energy 99. Again, I'll link up into the corner. I've done like a little video about this one. And then if we flick it on, again, I would expect this to work because it works with my other stuff. So yeah, you can see we've got no frame rate cap in there. We've got 160, 300 all working. So both V-mount batteries are essentially working as they should do, which is good. That's sort of what I'd expect. And then we start sort of get into the territory of the kind of outliers, where you've got things like, we'll give it a go on the new Power Junkie V2, which again, I've done a video about that, so you can check that out. I'll link it up in the corner. So the difference between the V2 and the V1, if you don't know, the V2 now has USB PD, and you can kind of utilize that, so you can see the PD power is on there. And then what we should be able to do is flick the camera on, and with any luck that will work. Sometimes on the Power Junkie I have noticed that you need to switch it off and then cycle the USB-C port once you've plugged it into the camera. This has happened a couple of times, but it seems to work when you redo it. Oh yeah, it helps if you plug it in as well. Oh, charged the I've plugged my V-mount battery into my blind spot, so it's just charging that up. Okay, and then if we switch that on, you can see it's doing the powering on, please wait. Go to the Q menu, and even with the Power Junkie, which, as I say before, I was struggling a little bit to get some of these higher frame rates with the Power Junkie. They all work on there, so the DCC18 works great with that as well, which is really good. And then the last kind of test really is the working with the other ones, like the we've got the Anker Nano. This is the older version of the I think they call it the Anker Prime now. It's one of their bigger power banks. I've done a video about this, but you actually can't get this one anymore, but I'll link to the Anker Prime and you can check that out. This is one of Anker's bigger power banks, so it's a really good one for kind of long shoots and stuff. You can see there, that's powering up. And you can see again, we've got full frame rates on everything, so that's on the larger Anker power banks. You know, the little bits that are maybe minor quibbles with this older power bank, they're actually all resolved in the newer one. You've got like a digital screen and like a few extra bits, which is great. It looks like a really good version of the new one. So it's that's kind of worth checking out. And then I don't actually need the cable for this next one, because the next one is the Anker Nano, which again I've done a video about. I really like this power bank. It's a great little power bank. And you can actually, it's got a built-in cable, so you can just plug it straight in and then flick the camera on. And you should be able to see, even on that tiny little power bank, the Anker Nano, we've actually got full access to all of those higher frame rates on the camera. So that's great, really. That's every single external power source that I have is now compatible with not only the camera but compatible with SSD recording at higher frame rates as well. And if you're interested on what driver this is, it's the Samsung T7 Shield, which, you know, I'll just link in the comments. You can kind of check it out. It's on Panasonic's list of recommended recommended SSD drives. So that's it really. It's like I say, everything so far looks all good. It's kind of a thumbs up for everything. The only negative point I've had with it is with this small rig V-mount battery. It's the only one I own where there is that kind of like power down issue where it won't power back up again. Like I say, you know, you can fix it by just sort of resetting the connection, but it's not ideal. So yeah, if you've got any questions or any bits like that, obviously leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give it a like. If you want to find out more about Lumix cameras, then check out the playlist on this channel, and please subscribe.